Okie dokie. Now that you're in classroom, you should go to section 9, which is designing with the Ontario Building Code, as you see here. There's a couple things you're going to need to have open. You're going to need to have the assignment open, which I do right here. And of course, you will need to open your drawing template. Now, when you click on this one, it's not going to open straight away. You have to wait and then click on that. So that's going to load up for us, which is great. There's a bunch of stuff here. You don't necessarily need to go through it right now. We're going to begin with task 1, which is modeling the basement walls of your house. To begin this, you should have your ISU house drawing with you, and it should have all the exterior dimensions that may or may not be in the plans originally. I have mine here. I have some plans drawn on here. So I have 40-foot 8 here. I have 49-foot there. And in the meantime, I've had to measure these couple walls. I don't necessarily know these. However, I don't need to, and we'll go through that as we draw it. So let's get into our drawing that will load here soon. There we are. The first thing I need you to do is rename your drawing to first name, last name, design number. Oops. So what we're going to do is hit this folder here, save as, and you can call it Jimmy, and then your design number, which is probably, I don't know, some number. All right. And Jimmy only has a first name, as it turns out. So save that, and then it's going to ask you where you want to put it. So organize it in your drive, wherever the heck you're going to remember where it is. Once you have your drawing renamed and saved, it's time to get going. So let's start in the corner. When I look at this drawing, I'm going to call this the corner. So I'm going to start drawing here and go 6 foot that way. To do that, you need the line tool. You can get that either by simply clicking right there, or by, if you could guess what the keyboard shortcut is for line, it's L. So grab that line, and now we're drawing something. I want you to go this way, which is on the red axis. There's a couple of things you can do. Number one, if you look down the bottom, this is showing you what length you're drawing, and we want 6 feet. So you could try your hardest to get actually 6 feet, and you may or may not be successful, but that will be a colossal waste of time. So instead, just pull it towards the red axis, type in 6 feet and press enter, and there is the line. Amazing. Now we need to draw the rest. So I have 18 feet and then 11 foot 10, and then I'm going to have to get creative. So let's go along the green axis. Now, once it goes in the green axis, which is towards the front of the screen, I can simply type in 18 feet and click again. And then I'm going to do 11 foot 10. So once I get to the red, 11 foot 10 inches, enter. And now I think, yeah, that lines up. So I have to draw a line from the corner back. To do this, I know that I'm going to end up on this point here. So what I'm going to do, when I get to the green axis, I'm going to hold shift. And when you do that, you'll notice that the line gets bold. That means it can only move no matter what along that axis. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to simply click there, which is what I want it to line up with. Et voila, there it's done. So now I need to get creative. I haven't, because I'm lazy, I haven't measured these yet, or this length, but I do have the overall. So I'm going to go ahead and actually draw out this major shape and use that as a guide. So again, this wall is 6 foot, and that is 40 foot 8. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to go out here. From this corner, I'm going to go 6 feet, which I know, hold shift again, happens to be there. And then I'm going to go along the green axis, 40 feet and 8 inches. Type enter, and there it is. And the back wall is 49. So go across that way, 49 feet, and done. And then I can simply get towards the green axis, hold shift, draw to there, and now I can complete my space. These lines are essentially guidelines, so I'm going to erase. Oh, I should probably track back for a minute. When you're using any tool and you're done with it, if you hit the space key, you will return to the default, which is the select one. So that's going to be really handy for you. So what I did there, I'm going to back up actually. So I finished this space, and then I was done with my pen tool, so I hit space, and then I want to erase these, and it's pretty tricky. The erase tool, the keyboard shortcut is, well, it's E. So we're going to erase those two and hit space again, and that is that. I'm going to delete this because I don't need that space, and now I do have the outline of the house, and I have some extras here. Don't worry about those. Here we go. we're going to use a tool called Follow Me. And in order to do that, we need the outline of the house, but we need it a couple times. So what I want you to do is triple click on any line, and it should highlight all three of them. And then right click on one line and make a group. Now, instead of selecting one at a time, you have them all. And we're going to make a copy. So the copy function is buried within the move tool, and following the complicated naming system, to call up the move tool, you can either go over here and click on it or type M, and that'll give you your move tool. Select that and start moving it, and you will notice that we're simply moving it. We're not copying it. If you want to make a copy, if you look down here, it tells you some stuff, and one of them is if you hit Control, it toggles the copy function. So if you hit Control once, you'll see that now it's making a copy. If I decide I don't want that, I can press Control again. In this case, I definitely want copy. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to go this way. It doesn't matter how far, just enough. And I'm going to click it again. Now, we actually need one more copy, so I could repeat the same thing. Go ahead and click it, press Control, and go that way, and that would do it. Another way we can do this, if I undo what I just did, is grab the Move tool, start going, hit Control to get a copy, set it down somewhere, and without doing anything else, I can type in ×2, or the multiply. So the multiply is Shift 8 on your keyboard, and then ×2, as we've drawn down here, and hit Enter, and it will do 2 copies. If this was something different, and I don't know, I needed 19 copies, I could type in multiply by 19, and it indeed would make 19 copies. I don't need all of those, so I'm going to get rid of them. There we go. We have our 3 copies. All is good. So that is the outline. Congratulations. Save and take a break. And welcome back. For the next part of the show, we are going to make those walls an actual thing. So you may have noticed by now there's some junk over here, and well, it's going to be really important. Another thing that may be important for you is this thing up here that says Entity Info. And what that allows you to do is see if there's any information contained about any of these parts. And well, newsflash, I drew all these and put information in there for you. So yes, there is. What you're going to do now is the basement foundation wall. Oh my gosh, there's a part right there for you. So that's the one you're going to use. I'm going to get rid of this for now. You can pull it back up at any time by doing that. But we figured out what this is. We're going to use this to, we're going to use this outline that we drew to take this profile, this section, and wrap it all the way around our house because it is the foundation wall. To do that, we're going to use the Follow Me tool, which is buried under this push-pull tool. So I'm going to select it, even though I'm not going to use it, and I'll show you why in a second. Anyways, I've got this selected, hit space to get rid of it, and now we can move on. Speaking of moving, take this bad boy, hit M for the move tool, and I want you to move it. Now, when we moved and made copies of the outline of your house, there wasn't much in the way of a plan. We just kind of clicked anywhere and moved it. This one, we have to think about what we want to do. This is the outside edge of the house right there. And I want to line that up with any point it's not particularly important along this line. What I don't want to do is put it in the middle, okay? And I don't want to put it on the outside of the house because then my foundation, well, is on the wrong side of my house. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to hit the move tool, and I'm going to select the left side because I'm putting on the left side of the house. And now I can move it and I can put it anywhere along here, click again to set it, and that is that. So now we've got that in position, and we have everything ready to go. Here we go. Here's the magic trick. You're going to take that, you're going to right click on it, hit explode, and unfortunately it loses all the information that it had about what it was, but you already know what it is, so that's a good thing. And now that is no longer group, it's in its separate little individual pieces. And now what I want you to do is click on the walls and explode that as well. So right now, all the walls for this particular outline are highlighted, and we're ready to go. So without further ado, take your Follow Me tool and simply click on that face, and boom. Isn't it wonderful? There is your foundation. Okay, now that's it. You can triple click on that and make it a group, and now you can't accidentally edit it. Now for the fun part, Number two, we got to start engineering something. And what we're going to do for this part is we're going to figure out what the minimum allowable size of a built-up beam to support the first floor of your house would be. So in context, this is our house, and we want to know what size beam do we need to put across here to support all our floor joists that are going to go in here. Couple things we got to do first. Number one, we have to look at this table here. This is taken directly from the Ontario Building Code, and I have basically summarized it. There's parts that you don't need to know about so to make it a bit easier. So the first thing you're going to want to know about is the commercial designation. Now that is just what type of lumber is it. Around here, all you can buy is SPF. So we've just left it at that. There are 3 other species that the building code talks about, but we don't need to. The next one is the grade, and there are 2 that the code talks about. One is select structural, the other is number 1 and 2, and that's basically the quality of the lumber. The next part is the supported length, which we're going to get to right about now. So for this assignment, you have been given SPF, and you need to know what your lumber quality is. To get that, you can take your specification and do this. In other words, I'm going to choose one for the moment. I'm going to say it's number 1 and number 2. That's what I'm going to choose. So number 1 and number 2. And to be clear, you are not just choosing. You're going to do this and figure out which one you have. For the supported length, that's going to be determined by your number again. And I'm going to make it up. I'm going to say 4.1. And finally, your maximum span is something you're going to have to figure out. And what that is, the maximum span is the span of the beam. So how far can I put a beam in this drawing without needing a support in the middle? So we're going to need some supports. The question is, how many do we need? And with however many we put in, what size does that beam need to be? So what you're going to do once you have it drawn is you're going to divide your house's width by 3 or 4 or 5, and you're looking to get a value between 3 to 5 meters, which is 9'10" to 16'4". In your drawing, there's an easy way to do this. Number one, let's figure out how wide this is. If you don't remember, you can either measure it with this tape measure, or I prefer using this dimensioning tool. And I'm just going to click once over here and click once over there. And sure enough, it is 49 feet long. So to figure this out, you could math it with the calculator. However, I find it easier to simply draw a line first. So from anywhere here along the red axis, I'm going to hold shift so I don't mess it up. I'm going to click there. And now it's done that, which is super exciting. Oh my gosh. That's because I didn't make this a group yet. Oopsie daisies. Here we go. Try one more time. From there, right axis, boom. There's my line. It is 49 feet long. We can even check in there. Sure enough, it is. And I'm going to use the built-in divide tool. So if you take your line and click on it, right click, I should say, you get to the divide tool. And from the middle, if you start moving out, you'll see that it's going to divide it into sections. So 3 segments of this line equal to, ironically enough, 16'4", which is this maximum number. I don't love that, so I'm going to keep going. If I do 4 segments, I get 12'3". If I do 5 segments, I get 9 foot. Well, basically, again, where we were back here, to 9'10". I'm going to go in the middle. Stay neutral on this one. So 4 segments at 12'3", and you click it, and now this is split into sections. So 12'3" was our number. I'm going to go into here and write 12'3 inches. And to read our code, it has to be in metric. So I'm going to convert that real quickly wherever that window is, and I'm going to make that into meters. The way I'm going to do that is by using these numbers here. So every meter is 3.2808 feet. So call up your calculator or do it with the calculator in your hand, whatever you want. And I'm going to take 3 inches divided by 12 to give me decimal feet. Add 12 to that. So there is my 12'3" in decimal. And divide it by 3.2808. Gives me, let's keep 2 decimal places, 3.73. So that is 3.73 meters. So there we are. This is the maximum span that I have decided I'm going to use. Again, that is a span between supports for our beam. So that is the number that we're going to use here. Now, again, I am in number 1 and number 2, and maximum span is 3.73. So, sorry, I'm going all over the place here. Here's the 2 things I want to know. I am in this grade here, and my supported length back on this chart was 4.1 meters. So under number 1 and 2, 4.1 meters, I have to be in this row here. You can't be less than your number, so I can't be 3.6, or else your house is going to fall apart. So let's not do that. We're going to read it on this row. And again, my maximum span was 3.73 meters. So I'm looking here, 3.73. Well, it will fall nicely into there. It can't be there. Of course, that's not strong enough or long enough. So it's going to be under there, or it could be under here. So that's I and K. So I says I need 5 pieces that are that big. And row K, column K, I should say, says I need 4 pieces which are that big. So I'm going to choose, doesn't matter which one in our case, I'm going to go with 5 of these bad boys. So 5 that are 38 by 235. So I'm going to just Control C, copy that, go into here and paste it. And there that is. So now I know what I need to draw. So what I need to draw is 5 beams, 5 pieces of wood, I should say, that are 38 by 235. If I go into my drawing, I can come over here, and I have beams already here. I'm going to go into my entity info, and there is one. I have 2 by 8s, which is the imperial measurement, which is 38 by 134. And I think I wanted these guys, didn't I? Yes, 235. So this is my beam. That's a section of it. It's a 2 by 10, and I need 5 of them. 5 of them. So I can start with that. Now, what we also need to keep in mind is where we're going to actually locate it. So I'm just going to put that over there for now so I don't forget it. Where we're going to put it is the supported length. So if we go back into here, the supported length is 4.1 meters. I need to convert that to feet. So again, I'm going to pull up my calculator, and I'm going to take 4.1 meters, and I'm going to multiply it by our factor, which is 3.2808. And that gives me 13.45 feet. So I need to convert that to feet and inches. So I'm going to, no, you know what? I don't, because I'm drawing 13.45. There it is, 13.45 feet. I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to locate where that is. The way I'm going to do that is use the construction line. So if we come down into the the pencil tool, where is it? I'm going to get it. There it is, under where the dimension of the tape measure is. You'll find this one, which is the protractor. Okay, and this is a tool you can just draw lines with that don't mean anything. They just help you guide things. So once you have that tool, you can put it up on the top of the house, or click it once and pull it in that direction to the red axis. And now you can see from the red axis, it's telling us what angle we want to draw at, or this line is going to be drawn at. We don't want any angle. We just want a straight angle. So I'm going to type in 0, enter, and now it's drawn our line for us. Again, our supported length is 13.45 feet. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to press M, click it once, and start moving it in the green direction. And I'm going to write 13.45 feet. And there it is. That is the supported length. That is what we've decided where our beam is going to be. So I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need any more. Triple click, get rid of it. I'm also going to erase that for fun. And I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to move the front edge of it right to there. So again, I click where you want it to be pasted to, which is that top corner, and put it along that line. And now I can double click on that component, and I can edit it. So again, if you're out here, you can't actually physically do anything to this. You're going to double click it, and now we can. Now we want to make this longer. So the way to do that is use the push-pull tool, which can be found over here. And all you're going to do is decide on which face you want to move. In this case, it's the length. And I'm going to pull this all the way over to the other wall. Boom. And there's our beam. And I'm going to erase that because I don't need it anymore. So there's our beam. You may or may not know we cannot get a piece of wood that long. So it would actually be made of different pieces, but that doesn't matter right now. We do need 5 of them, however. So get the move tool, click on the one side, and start pulling it along. Of course, we need the copy, so we're going to press Control. And now I can click right there, and that'll set it. Remember the repeating function, making multiple copies. We need 4 other copies other than the first one. So I'm going to type in times 4, enter, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these bad boys. There is my giant beam, okay? Wonderful. Now you may notice that looks a bit odd because there's nothing in the middle. Well, that is the supported length, the maximum span that we talked about earlier. And in our case, we decided it was 12 foot 3. And this is where our posts come in. So we need to support this thing every 12 foot 3. So I'm going to take this post right here, and this is called a jack post, and it's adjustable, and you may have seen it in a basement, and this just takes the weight from the beam down. I'm going to move it from, this is the plate that's going to mount to the bottom of my beam, so I'm going to take it from the middle of it at the top, and I'm going to move it, zoom out a bit. I'm going to move it right to that point right there. So that's the middle there. So there is the center of the post on the end of the beam, and I'm going to move it 12 foot 3. So 12 foot 3 inches, enter, and now it's moved on. It's way over there, okay? So that looks lovely. It is okay where it is. Technically, it's not centered. If you want, you can, you can just grab it in there and move it over 3/4 of an inch. Press enter, and there we go. There's our post, okay? Now, we said we needed 12 foot 3, so I'm going to move. Sorry, I'm moving all around here. Grab the move tool, start moving it, press control, type in 12 foot 3 inches, hit enter, and I need another one. So I'm going to type in ×2, and there's my supports. So that beam is now supported, and all is well. The last thing I'm going to do, you may or may not notice that there's actually no support for this beam on this wall. It's just hanging in space. So I'm going to edit this foundation wall, which is super easy to do, and we're going to make a pocket for that. So I'm going to double click on it, and to get into the editing mode, I'm going to hit R for rectangle. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to click over here. And now what I've actually done is drawn a square on top of this face. And what I can do now is hit my push-pull tool, which is P. So I'm just going to hit P. And then you won't be able to see it, but just trust me, you're highlighting it there. And I'm going to make a pocket that is 3 inches deep. And there it is. And I'm going to go to the other side and repeat. So again, R for rectangle, click up that corner, down to there, and then hit space and push-pull, so the P, and put that in 3 inches. Boom. Then, of course, what you're going to want to do is double-click on one of the beams, hit P for your push-pull, and pull that into that corner. And then all the way to the other end, you're going to swing around so you can see it, hit P for push-pull, grab the end of it, and go. Now you'll notice that they're all changing at the same time. It's because it's a component, which is handy. So they will all change at the same time. And there they are. There's our beam supported on the foundation and on jack posts. And that would be that portion done. Congratulations.